In order to install a chimney in a window, you're going to need a metal plate that can go over this piece of the window to make sure that the air cannot go in and that this piece is not going to overheat, and if that does, then that would be fireproof to do so. Another thing that you will need is metal tape. This is aluminum foil tape. That is fine as long as that adhesives to the metal, then that is good. The next thing that you will need is you will need the long chimney pieces as well as the curved pieces, and you can usually get these in places like Royal Kings, Atwoods, and other kinds of hardware places as well. Some of the chimney parts may have to be cut and may have to be taken off from the parts for the chimney to fit that into the window. Now these pieces are adjustable, as you can see. You can adjust it from the middle. So what we're going to do, and also if you need to cut that, if you need to cut this to fit, just cut it open like this and pull that together to the size approximation that is needed. And so now we're going to make sure that the other part of the chimney, now the curved piece goes here. We can adjust that to what can go directly out. We want that in the center, in the middle of the window. This here was the Vevor wood stove on the HomeDepot.com. You can get this on Temu, on the Home Depot, and other places. So this is actually something that can be converted to an inside wood stove. I prefer this because look at the bottom. Look how much space that this has from the top of this to the floor. This is less of a fire hazard than traditional wood stoves that are literally so close to the floor. So personally, I feel more comfortable with this kind of wood stove being in the house rather than one that is too close to the ground. This piece of the wood stove will go at the end of this piece that is going out. We can make adjustments to this as we like, and as you can see, this piece will go over this. Now we need to make sure to put metal tape over these areas multiple times. With this kind of tape usually peels off, and that is great for this specific need. So what we're going to do is make sure that that is adhesive very well. All of the way. You want to make sure to secure this as much as you can and make sure that is in the approximation of the middle of the window. And also remember that fire safety is very important, so make sure everything is clear of hazards. You have to arrange the furniture specifically to the wood stove arrangements. Another thing that I actually had skipped to get was an aluminum back for the wood stove. Now this is essential because the back near the window is going to get pretty hot. So you need to make sure to have aluminum to cover the entire part right here. So that way that if that gets hot, that is not going to bother anything. Now for this part of the chimney, what we will do is put this metal backing over this, so we have to take this part off to slide this through. You will have to cut a hole in the middle to approximate this size that is needed. going to put at least 3 to 4 screws in each point of the metal sheet around this to make sure that this is not going to come off. The next thing that we are going to do is make sure to adhesive all of the edges so the wind cannot be blown inside. You need to make sure that there is no gaps between the metal piece and the window, so that water cannot go through and wind cannot go through either. Also, this is so important to note, you all, because I had experience with this before. Adhesive the very top of the window and the sides, because the window itself will get hot. So you have to make sure to adhesive that so that the window does not have melting in the adhesive of the actual window. And yes, it can happen, so make sure that there is protective adhesive on the window piece. And if you can, just put several layers of the adhesive on the window seal piece, because there is adhesive that could actually melt and cause the window to be pushed a little outwards. And I just cut myself just a moment ago on accident. So what we're going to do is, this is why I have a fanny pack, you all. Immediately I have what is needed. So we have some hand sanitizer. We'll put that on and feel the stinging of that. Then afterwards, we'll get the first aid kit out. Band-aid. Do you see why it is so important to have a fanny pack? An immediate first aid kit, just in case. Okay, now we can put that back. Put that up and continue on. And do not try to pretend that I do not appreciate the good things. It is just the fact that you are not accrediting when I do appreciate. You need to learn to accredit more in that case. Now this is important because we have to make sure that this is both adhesive on the outside and the inside. Make sure that goes all the way around. For this next part of the outside of the chimney, we are going to make sure to get pieces of the same size. And instead of wrapping that all of the way around, what we are going to do is we are going to cut this to where this is flattened long ways, just like this. We are going to do this all of the way around. And then we are going to go over this with a long adhesive one more time to make sure that this is secured onto there. Make this like the petals of a flower. Good. That we are going to make sure to adhesive this all of the way around. Make sure that is locked on and secured properly. Now that is most certainly secure. Now we are going to look at this piece to make sure that all of the seal of the window is secured. Very good. And the other window also. And then we have the chimney piece that is secured very well. Excellent, and now it is time to install the rest of the chimney. And we want to make sure that this is adhesive before putting this on. And now, after getting the metal piece, this should be complete. Going to adhesive, one adhesive on the front, one adhesive on the back, and then we are going to fold this to create a metal piece that can hold the chimney up, because if we do not have something to hold the chimney up, what ends up happening is the chimney can fall down. So we need to make sure that this is nice and secured, of even when the wind blows hard, that this would not be knocked down. And now the chimney has been installed correctly. Very good.